In this video, I'm going to show you yet another way to add some text into your game. So here I have the girl animated and I have the platform already set up. And you can see she's able to walk. All right, so now I'm going to insert Big Bird. So I'm going to load my image. All right, and then you can see it has a white background, so I'm going to click on the fill button, make sure that the first color is clear, and then just click all over the white space. Looks like that did it, and then just X out. Okay, and then I'm going to make him a lot bigger than her, and then place him on the platform. So another thing that I want to do is make sure that he is solid. So I'm going to add the behavior. Double click on solid because I want her to collide with him and then for text to pop up. So the next thing I'm going to do is create a text box. So I'm going to go to text. And I'm going to make this nice big box, and I'm going to place it outside of the screen space. So this is where you're going to write whatever you want to appear on the screen. So I'll just write okay, so I just want to adjust the text since this is dialogue. I'm just going to keep pressing the space bar because if I click on enter, it takes me out of the box. I'm sure there's an easier way to do this. I just haven't figured it out yet. Okay, we're getting there. Okay, great. So now what I'm going to do is add a Sprite Font. So this is different from the text box. So I'm going to double click on Sprite Font here. Just click anywhere. And then this will pop up in your animations editor. So you'll see the white letters. So unfortunately, you can't change the colors of the Sprite font unless you have Photoshop and all of that. And I'm just trying to keep this simple, so we're not going to mess around with it too much. So I'm going to X out of that, and I'm going to try to make this about the same size as the other text box. So this is where the words are going to appear. Okay, so now I'm going to go to my event sheet and make some stuff happen here. So what I want to happen is for the girl to collide with Big Bird and then for the text to pop up. I also want the text to be invisible until she collides with him, because if I press preview here, you'll see that the word text just pops up, and I want that to be invisible until the collision happens. All right, so this is how we're going to make that happen. In the event sheet, I'm going to add the event system on start of layout. And then we're going to set the Sprite Font and click on visibility, set visible. And we're going to make it invisible. Okay, so next I'm going to add another event. So when the player on collision with another object, so when the player collides with Big Bird, we're going to make the Sprite Font visible, so set visible. Okay. I also want some time to pass for the player to actually read the font, and then I want Big Bird to disappear because he is a solid and the girl can't pass without him disappearing. So I'm going to have the system wait, let's say for 7 seconds, and you can adjust this to whatever you want. And then after 7 seconds, after waiting for 7 seconds, then we're going to have Big Bird destroyed. Okay, so now we're going to add our event to have the words pop up. So we're going to add our 7th event. We're going to go to System, and we're going to do every X seconds. And for this, we're going to type 0.08. And again, you can play around with this number and see if you want the text to come up faster or slower. You can experiment with it. Now we're going to add a condition to this. So this means that I'm going to right-click the yellow area and click on Add Another Condition. So now I'm going to, again, click on System. I'll click on Compare Two Values. And we're going to want this to be greater than. And for the first value, what I'm going to do is type in len, so length, open parentheses. And then for this, I'll be writing text because this is my text box. So actually, since I'm going to have period text after this, I think what I'm going to do is go back, which is something I should have done, go back and rename the text box so that way you guys understand what actually needs to go in here. So I'm just going to cancel this. I'm going to go back to my projects, go back to layout. So this is the text box and this is the Sprite font. So if you're unsure which one's which, just go to your project panel, click on text here, and you should see it highlighted. So this I'm going to rename just by right-clicking, click on rename, and I'm just going to write dialogue. And I'm going to leave Sprite font as is for now, just so I could tell the difference between another text box if I choose to insert one. So let's go back to our event sheet. Again, I'm going to right-click to add that condition. We're going to go to System. We're going to compare two values, make sure this is greater than, and then we'll type in our first value. So lowercase everything here, len, open parentheses. And then I'm going to write dialogue because that's what I named it. And then I could actually just double click here because it popped up. I'm going to add a period. So please don't forget the punctuation here because it will come up as invalid if you forget the punctuation. And then text, close the parentheses. And then down here for the second value, we're going to type in Sprite Font. So it comes up right here. Oh, sorry, I forgot to start with len. Okay, so len, open parentheses, Sprite Font, period, and then text again. And then close your parentheses. All right, and then done. So now we're going to add an action. We're going to click on Sprite Font. We're going to set text. And we're going to delete those quotation marks. And I'm going to write the word left, open parentheses, dialogue, which is the name of my text box. I'm just going to double click it, period, text, comma, and then lowercase len again, open parentheses, Sprite Font, just double click on that, period, and then text, and then close the parentheses, and then we're going to add +1 and then close the parentheses again. Okay, so then done. All right, so let's preview this. All right, so notice that the text does not appear when she walks and then collides with Big Bird. Then the text appears. Perfect. So now it's going to wait for a few seconds. He's going to disappear, and then she can walk out of the layout. All right, great. So now if you wanted to add a background to this, you can easily do that. Let me quickly show you how. So just click anywhere, insert sprite, click anywhere again, and click on the rectangle tool and choose any color, doesn't really matter. Just go with this. Create a rectangle and then crop it. Okay, and what I'm going to do is make the opacity 50%, so it's a bit see-through. Also going to make this larger. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to select the box that I just created. I'm going to right click on it, and under Z order, I'm going to send it to the bottom of layer. So that way the Sprite font is on top. Okay, so let's preview this again. Okay, and then you can see I need to adjust the box. You can also make the box invisible by doing the same thing that we did with with the Sprite font up here. So you can add another action, make this invisible, set visible. So I'll make it invisible in the start of the layout, and then add an action here to make it visible. So you may need to move these around so that way it waits 7 seconds after it becomes visible. So those are just a few options, and this is just another way for you to add some text to your project. So hopefully that helped.